Hi, my name is Lucy. I'm an MSW, and I'm so happy you're here today. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about um, our roles here in these sessions. Everything that you say to me is going to be confidential, with the exception of if you disclose to me that you felt like you were going to hurt yourself or hurt someone else, then I would be obligated to report that. But other than that, everything stays here. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about what brings you here and what you're looking to get from being here, what I can do, and then in turn, what you can do, what kind of relationship we can have. So, what brings you here today?
Well, I am, past couple of weeks I've been considering getting a divorce from my husband. So it's kind of been giving me a lot of anxiety, so I decided I needed to talk to somebody about it. I've kind of talked to my friends about it, but they already don't like him, so I feel like it's not they can't give me
They're not impartial.
decision or advice, so I thought I would seek a third-party person.
Well, I'm really glad you're here. So that's a really big decision that you're considering, and I'd like to just, if it's all right with you, get a little bit of background information on you and on your relationship. So how long have you been married?
We've been married for 5 years now.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this consideration of divorce, is this a new thing? You said within the last couple weeks?
Yeah, over the years, everyone has their doubts every once in a while, and
Sure.
so, but it's been like constant, like nagging thought in the back of my mind, for the last couple of weeks. So, and then it's kind of like getting in the way of work, and I have a son and taking care of him, so I just want to make a decision.
Sure. And it sounds like that must be a lot for you to be juggling your marriage and your work and your son. Tell me a little bit about when you have these thoughts, what sorts of arguments are they making for the divorce? What things are sort of pushing you toward this decision?
So we love each other very much. We've been together for a very long time, and I know he cares about me, but sometimes I just don't feel that he loves me. He can be really distant at times, and it's almost like he switches into two different people. It's like he's really super affectionate at one point, and then the next minute he's like just like blank slate. Doesn't want to communicate, and he just wants to watch TV and not like interact with me and like spend quality time. And also he's like pretty aggressive. He like verbally aggressive. He'll when he gets upset, it's like really quick to like snap back, and he like tries to tell me what to do a lot of the time, and that frustrates me because it's like we should be making decisions together and not trying to like have one person power over the other. And
well, it sounds like that the unpredictability is what sounds really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we don't have stability in someone, that can make things even harder because we don't know who's going to show up to the dinner table, whether it's going to be our loving, affectionate husband or someone who's emotionally distant. So has that sort of been symptomatic of him all throughout your marriage, or is that something that's sort of evolved in the last year or so?
It's evolved. It's always been there, but I think that it's gotten worse, definitely. So I think that it's kind of like, snowballing into this thing to where now I'm like, really questioning our relationship.
Yeah. And when you think of what the options are, what do those look like to you?
Well, I think that there are a number of reasons why I'm super hesitant to get a divorce. One, most importantly, my son, we have this son together, and, what would it look like for him if we divorced, and, he didn't see as much of his dad, and he didn't have that male role model in his life anymore, and, just this person that he depends on, because he's really good with our son. And so that is something that is really concerning me, is how would their relationship change and how would it affect my son.
Your husband and your son, what's their relationship look like now?
It's really good, He definitely, he doesn't treat him the way he treats me. He's always super loving and affectionate, and makes time to be with him and take care of him. So,
well, it sounds like your son's really lucky and that he has two really supportive parents. So, regardless of what decision you make, it sounds like your son is in a really good, safe place and a really loving place. So that's great. You provide that for him. Tell me a little bit about when you said that he is sort of verbally aggressive to you. What does that look like?
Little things that I do that annoy him, he kind of snap at me for that, like, don't do that anymore, or like anytime that I try and talk to him about something that's been bothering me, as far as something in our relationship, he will get really angry and upset and not really hear what I'm saying. He'll just kind of get really argumentative and then end the conversation, and nothing's really resolved and there's no compromising. It's just kind of we're done with that. So
if you could sort of paint a perfect scenario of how this would resolve, do you have the two of you ever been to counseling together? Obviously, it's a wonderful thing to have you here and to get to talk to you about this, and so counseling is obviously something you're open to, but has that been something you guys have talked about together?
I mentioned it when we were going through a little something a while back, but he was really opposed to the idea, and so now this time I thought I'd go on my own. I didn't go back then, so this time I thought maybe I could go on my own, and then I would love it for him to be able to meet with you and us together, but I don't know. I don't think that he would be open to that. So.
Well, and that's what we can work on is what you have control over, which is you and your actions, and unfortunately, his actions or his decision of whether or not to go is his. But what we can do in our relationship is work on getting you to a place where you feel like you can make the decision that feels best for you. Are there, just sort of in mapping out what our time's going to look like together, are there things specifically that you'd like to work on?
I guess just kind of working through the different issues, that we have, and kind of getting a new perspective on it, making sure that I'm not the crazy person. Well, maybe I am, but
I don't believe in that word here. And I think it's always really healthy to talk about things, especially decisions this big, it's really, they can feel really overwhelming. So what I would like for us to do, if this feels okay for you, is to sort of look at it in smaller pieces, which might feel a little less daunting or a little less overwhelming. I want to, I got to hear a little bit about your husband's relationship with your son, but I'd love to hear a little bit about your relationship because he sounds like a great kid.
Yeah, he is great, super active, and he's in kindergarten now, and we get along really well. So I'm really thankful for the relationship we have, and I love him.
Oh, that's great. That's great. He sounds like a really neat kid.
Yeah.
What kinds of things do you do with him? Either just the two of you, or as a family? What kinds of things do you guys like to do?
Just me and him. We like to go to the park, and I'll take him to different activities. Like we'll go do fun things around town that go to the farmers market, or I'll take him to the children's museum, stuff like that.
Awesome. Does your husband? Do you guys do these kind of things together, or is it more? Do you spend time with your son alone, and he spends time with your son?
We do things together sometimes. We both work, and we kind of have opposite schedules. So, we don't get a lot of time, all three of us together. But occasionally we get to do some stuff together, and so we'll go out and like do some of the activities we talked about. But usually just ends in an argument. So.
Well, and that's hard because it sounds like you have sort of a finite amount of time, and so I'm sure the time that you do get to spend with your son, you hope is really wonderful and really productive and happy. So that must be hard to feel like that time sometimes gets overshadowed by these other things. You told me a little bit when we first sat down about talking to your girlfriends and sort of them having a very polarized idea of what you should do in this situation. Tell me a little bit about the women that you're really close to, and kind of like what that conversation looked like when you had it with them.
Well, they don't really like him because of I've told them when we've gotten in fights, I'll go to them and confide in them about what we fought about and how aggressive he is, and so they just based on that they they care about me a lot, and so they want what's best for me, and when they see him treating me like that, they obviously don't want to see that, so they want us to separate, and there's also this coworker that I'm kind of interested in, and I feel really guilty about that. I told my friends about that, and we've hung out in groups together, and they really like the coworker, and so I don't want to jump into anything anytime soon, but that attraction is there, and so I feel really guilty about that, and that's another factor that I'm just trying to work through. I don't know how to deal with that.
Well, it just I'm really hearing that you just have a lot going on in your life. You're busy, and you have it seems like you're sort of being pulled in different directions by all these people. And so what I'd really like for us to focus on in the next session is sort of getting down to what feels really good for you, and being able, even though it's difficult, to sort of quiet those other influences and really talk about what feels best for you right now. And I want to thank you again for coming in. It was so nice to meet you.
It was nice meeting you too.
All right, I'll see you next time.